everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you all about how I became a reader, fell in love with reading as an adult after taking like a 12-year break from it. I was a huge reader as a kid. I absolutely loved reading, but when I got into middle and eventually high school, I really kind of fell off the train of reading. My time felt much more constrained, and having to do so much reading for school made the act of doing it for fun much less appealing. In 2021, I decided I wanted to get back into reading, so I set myself a goal of reading one book every single week for the whole year, totaling 52 books. By August, I had read a grand total of 2. In September of that year, I completely changed my strategy, and by the end of the year, I had read 26 books. Flash forward a couple of years, and I'm currently on track to read 100 books this year. I have been reading the most this year that I ever have in my life. I am obsessed. You cannot get me away from it. Last week, I saw Jess Conti post a video of 10 books that changed her life, that made her fall in love with reading, and I decided that I really wanted to make a video and sit down and tell you about the books that got me back into reading and the strategies that I implemented to just like really fall in love with it again rather than just force myself to do it. I went about it completely the wrong way at first, so I want to help you avoid my mistake. If you do want to become a reader, I have some tips for you. Okay, if you want to become a reader, the first and most important thing that I would say is to make it fun. If you want to actually be a reader, then forcing yourself to do it is not the way to accomplish this. I say this from personal experience because I completely botched this a couple years ago, where I would tell myself, okay, I'm going to read a bare minimum of 50 pages a night, no matter what. But then when I really didn't want to read, it sucked and I hated it. Something really important to keep in mind here is if you're trying to build a hobby or trying to build an affection or a liking or a love for something, it doesn't work if you're miserable while you're doing it. You might get some varied advice on this depending on who you talk to, but my opinion is very much only read when it's fun. If you're just starting out, I would recommend heading to a bookstore, grabbing a few books that sound really fun and appealing to you, and then keeping them on your bedside table or coffee table or wherever. When you're in the mood to read, grab them. When you're not, don't touch them. The next thing I want to say, and this is very much in line with the first, is romanticize the crap out of this. I'm a huge believer in romanticizing your life and making the little moments of your life over the top fun and exciting and cute, whatever. Bring your book to a coffee shop on the weekend and sit and read there, or go sit in the park. Start a reading journal. Join a book club. I actually just did this. We have our first meeting tonight. Make it personal. Don't let anyone else's idea of what a reader is or should be affect how you approach this. I feel like reading culture can be like amazing and so fun, and it can also be kind of weird where people are really protective and defensive and opinionated, and like you can just read as much as you want and call yourself a reader. You can read one book a year and call yourself a reader if you want to. Like, you don't need to meet anyone's expectations or standards of what makes you a reader or what kind of books you should be reading. Be a mood reader. When I started trying to get back into reading, I will admit that some of it was just absolutely prideful. There were a lot of books that I wanted to be able to say that I had read, so I would pick up classics or biographies that looked impressive and try and make my way through them, when it really wasn't what I was in the mood to be reading. Read the books that you want to read. Don't read books that sound impressive or read books that you feel like people on the internet think are popular, unless that motivates you. But just read what you're in the mood to be reading. The next thing that was so helpful for me in getting back into reading was audiobooks. And for me, going from not reading at all to sitting down, staring at a page and trying to force my brain to focus on the words was so challenging. Audiobooks were an instrumental part of getting me back into reading because I was able to listen to the books that I wanted to read while I could do other things, and that just helped me focus so much more. Another thing that was super fun and motivating for me was to create reading lists. So I usually like to create seasonal reading lists. This is something that I started doing in 2021 when I was just initially getting back into it, and it was so fun. I would go on YouTube and watch videos of like books to read in the fall, books to read in the winter, pick the ones that sounded really good to me, and then I'd make like a really cute Notion page that I would update as I went along. This is also something that I'll probably do in my actual reading journal right now, but I think it's just so fun to create like a little incentive for yourself, a little goal sheet. Reading lists can be just like a really exciting way to get back into things. I created a vision board for my Notion one as well. I went on Pinterest and I think I typed like fall reading aesthetic or something like that and just found super cute photos, and yeah, it was really fun. Another thing that has been helpful for me in some capacity has been goal setting and giving myself reading challenges. Take this one with a grain of salt. If this will take the fun out of it for you, then it's not worth it. Don't do it. For me, this is something that in the very beginning was not helpful, but after a couple of years of reading consistently, I've been able to do and just really enjoy it. It did take me a while to get to that point though, so bear that in mind. This goal isn't one of my like main yearly goals that I'm actively working towards. It's more just a fun incentive that like I think it would be really cool to hit. If I don't hit it, that's fine. I'm not gonna like review and go like what went wrong, because reading is a fun hobby for me and I want to keep it fun. The next thing is so funny because I never ever thought that I would be saying this. For the vast majority of my life, I wouldn't say I've been anti-e-reader, but I definitely haven't been pro-e-reader. And then for Christmas this year, I asked for and received a Kindle. And this has honestly made the biggest difference in my reader journey of all of these tips. Everything else helped get me into it, but this is what has kept me reading every single day this year, and I am genuinely obsessed. I have the Kindle Paperwhite, and I really, really love this for a few reasons. One, just as an e-reader in general, it's so convenient. Like, this fits in my purse, I can bring it anywhere. I pretty much bring it with me anytime I leave the house, because even if I'm not planning on reading, if I get stuck somewhere for 10, 15, 20 minutes, if I'm waiting in the car while Zach goes to run an errand, I'll just pull out my book and keep reading. I also love that I'm able to store so many books on this because I am completely a mood reader and I don't know what I'm going to be ready to read. For example, we're going on vacation in a few weeks, and normally this would begin the process of me being like, oh my gosh, what am I going to want to read? We're gone for quite a while, and me trying to guess like what I'll be in the mood to read would just be a nightmare. But instead, all I need to bring is my Kindle and I can read whatever I feel like reading the whole time. Digital books are also usually cheaper, which is definitely nice. I will say there is something so nice about having physical copies of books, but as we've been moving over the last few months and the chaos, I've just really appreciated having a Kindle and not having as much clutter or stuff in our space. I also have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, which I believe they're changing to Prime Reading, which is so cool, and I really hope they do that because I have Amazon Prime, so it's just one less thing to pay for. I freaking love Kindle Unlimited. Essentially, it's a huge selection of books that you can read completely for free once you pay for this monthly membership. My book is actually on Kindle Unlimited, so if you do have it and you're interested in reading it, definitely make sure to check that out. There are a number of books that were on my list that I wanted to read this year that just happened to be on Kindle Unlimited. Let me know if you guys want to see a list of my favorite Kindle Unlimited books, because I can totally do that as well. There are so many good ones on there, and I really like this especially for romance and thriller books, because typically for me those are things I'm not going to reread. I'll usually read them once and be done with them. Maybe if I really love it, I'll read it again like a year from now, but it's not something I'm going to come back to time and time again. So I like not having to pay a lot of money for it, you know? And of course I would be remiss not to mention the library, which is an incredible resource. I currently don't have a library card because we're still in the process of changing over all our address and everything so that we can get set up, get library cards, but the library is amazing, especially if you are a fast reader, which I am. Being able to borrow a bunch of books at once is just like so nice. I am quite a fast reader, and honestly I kind of hate it because there are some books that just go by too quickly for me, and I'm like, I want to live in the world a little bit longer, but once I'm engaged, it's really hard for me to stop or slow down, and then it's just like done in an afternoon and I'm devastated. Okay, the last specific tip that I wanted to recommend is getting involved and engaged with other readers. So if you have friends who are readers, amazing. Maybe you can look into starting a little informal book club. There's also an incredible community on social media full of readers, inspiration, book recommendations, and just definitely helps with the whole romanticizing the process thing. It's so fun. The thing is too, once I've followed people for a while, I can kind of start to figure out like what we have in common that we like in books, what we don't have in common, and then I can figure out if I'm gonna like a book or not based on their review, which is really fun. I also love Goodreads. Goodreads is a platform where you can review books, you can connect with other people, read other people's reviews, follow authors, follow other readers. Because it is an Amazon platform, my Kindle integrates directly into Goodreads, so it automatically will update what book I'm reading, and then I can review the book directly from my Kindle and mark it as read, which I really love. It's so satisfying to be just like, yep, done, another book, and I track my reading progress for the year on Goodreads. I have truly become a reader. I've fallen in love with reading, and it's just a big part of my life now, and I love that. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you did, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below so I know it is the best way to support my channel. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys have a good day, because today is a good day to have a good day, and that's it. Bye.